Okay, here we go. So, Christian, super excited to host you here on Leaders Got the BS, a new episode. Christian, you have an incredible background, and I'm going to let you talk about this more. But you're today a partner at Lexia. You're the head of the firm's banking and restructuring practice, and
Yeah,
you're the managing partner at their Abu Dhabi Gulf office. You're Italian, it seems like, and you've been, leading a lot of that in your career. I'm going to let you speak more about yourself. So, for people who don't know Christian, who are you and what are you all about?
yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I hope that they are interested to my story. I can say that I'm proud of me and what I did. I now, as you said, I'm part at Lexia, that is a domestic law firm. We are 130 lawyers and accountants with offices in Milano, Rome, and Palermo in Italy, and in Abu Dhabi in the UAE. I'm the head of the banking and restructuring practice, so I have a lot of fun on that. It's my main, let's say, main expertise is related to restructuring. So turnaround transactions. I try to solve the companies, or I try to invest in companies that in a situation of distress. I do that since 20 years, and then this year we combined the practice of banking and finance and the restructuring insolvency, and now I'm the head of the practice. We work mostly with I would say international clients. 60% of our clients, even if we are a domestic law firm, are from abroad. That is why we decided in last November 2025 to open our first international office in Abu Dhabi. I live with my family that is moving there, and well, it's a great journey. I'm there as a managing partner, so we are setting up. We took the shares from a limited liability partnership, and we are in one of the free zones, the Abu Dhabi global market. So there we assist Italian international clients that want to expand their business in the UAE, especially in Abu Dhabi. That I have to say, the fantastic city. I'm in Italian, you can see, as you can see, and but seriously, it's a great city, and it's perfect for, especially for children. I have two children, and it's incredible. Then, of course, now is not the best moment for the geopolitical reasons, but that is
Yeah.
another topic that would be too difficult. But I think that it's like, the listed companies, when there is, if a listed company loses some value, then they become even stronger. And that is why we believe in this and in this project. So for me, it's incredible. It's an incredible journey, an incredible experience, because setting up an office in not only in a foreign country, but in the Middle East is great. So yeah, man, there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. No, definitely, Christian. So first of all, congrats on your move there. You're right. It's a very specific time, but I also see like Abu Dhabi is the central hub, like it's the finance hub of the Middle East. So you're at the epicenter of where it's all at, and it's a very big encouragement to Italian firms as well, and more, and to know that you guys are there. And you mentioned you have two kids, so if you don't mind, you like how young are they? How's your family? Like you said, it's a good place for children. How
Yeah,
are they
sure.
experiencing? What are their names?
Well, my two kids are Max and Nick. They have international names because my wife is not Italian. We met in Berkeley in 2004 now. I'm
Wow.
getting older. And well, we got married later, but she's not Italian. She's half Dutch and half Finnish. So she's North European. So, you know, we are as Italian. I had to learn a lot from the North European countries. And so I have two beautiful kids. They are 8 and 11. They are both blonde because they took from the colors from my wife. So they look at they are like me, but they are blonde. And well, for them, is I will say that is a great experience. At least I hope so. It's they are enthusiastic. They are finishing the school now, and then I already enrolled them for the next year in Abu Dhabi. Well, I have to say, when I was kid, I had the American dream. In fact, I studied Berkeley. Then I studied also in Chicago. And
That's amazing. By the way, Christian, you mean Berkeley, UC Berkeley in California, or
yeah, right. UC Berkeley. I
amazing?
went there as visiting scholar. There was it was like an internship between the University of Milan and the UC Berkeley. I was a good student, so they admitted me. I had courses
Amazing.
for PhD students, and it was for a semester, but was was amazing. I have to say that mostly what I'm doing also related to my experience in Berkeley. It's
Yeah.
you can feel the atmosphere. I don't know now. I came back there some years ago. Was a little bit different,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But I think that Berkeley is still, tough city for everyone. And that was. I still remember the first time that I arrived there because I had a friend that was at Stanford at the Stanford Linear Accelerator Center because he was a physician, and I spent with him a couple of weeks before going to Berkeley. And Stanford, was very perfect with the score and the grass that was it was like a golf club. Then I went to Berkeley. I was at the beginning a little bit shocked because it's a little city with,
Yeah.
completely different. But there was seriously amazing. And I
Yeah.
had the American dream. Now it's
Yeah.
more difficult to have the American dream, but that is also another topic. But yeah,
Yeah. No, that's amazing. By the way, Christian, I went to Berkeley for a year. I stayed at the I House and I joined
me
the
too.
frat at some point. No way.
I
No
was at
way.
yeah, of course. Well,
That's amazing. I was there in 2012 though, but yeah, I know what you mean about Stanford and Berkeley, but it's a great place, man, as a lawyer for business. And I know what you mean about the American dream, but man, you're living the Italian and mid like dream, like your dream. I think this is the most inspiring. And so I wanna zoom in a bit on the what you feel at work. So what do you feel you spend most of your time thinking about at work?
in general, but work, I think that mostly the most important thing is to structure everything.
Mm,
You need to have a goal. You have to create your schemes, and
mm.
in I don't know if I got your question. What I think when I have to, when I have to work, right?
Yeah, so at work, what's the most thing you think about?
Well, do I have to be romantic or do I have to be realistic? I will be realistic. Most of the time, working in the restructuring and the stress management sector, I have to check if I'm going to be paid. So that is then for the romantic part. I try to save companies. I try to help in investments, but that is, you can pick the one that you prefer. And
No, both are amazing, man. Both are amazing. But I love it. I love because when you set a company, it's like you're making a baby, right? So there's a bit of romance to it. So I love it, man. That's such a such a nice perspective. But and for also people who don't know that role in depth, what's the part of your role that you think surprises people the most?
Well, I have to say that restructuring and solvency is very hard in general. You
Mm,
have to be, especially when you act for the debtor, you have to be sometimes like a psychologist.
mm,
That is something that many people don't know that, especially now in Italy, the lawyers are, we believe a lot in the verticals and the specialization, and like in the US, in other countries.
mm,
And in the past in Italy, the lawyer was the one that knew everything. So when I got to the meeting for my apartment that they believe for the condominium they believe that I know everything. Instead you are specialized on your job. And for
mm,
restructuring insolvency you also have to be a little bit I don't know, like a psychologist. Yesterday I
mm,
had the court hearing, and for a company that was filing for judicial liquidation, and the client was was stressed and sad because his dream didn't work. So this is
mm.
something that not too many people believe about that. And then, well, in the big transactions, they don't believe that there is a lot of fun, in the sense that You have to structure the transactions. You need to be, you need to know many things, because for restructuring insolvency is in the mix between banking, insolvency, and so you need to have an open mind. Then
Mm.
and then, especially when I hire new colleagues, they I explain that. I said that you have to be curious, you have to study a lot, and you have to invent a little bit. So that is something that you believe that you are like a lawyer and a civil law system, but then you have to invent something new every day.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, so it sounds like there's this connection, psychological connection to this insolvency and like their dream, and you have to kind of manage that and also be creative. So that's amazing. And so walk us through a normal week for your team. Where do you feel work tends to pile up for you and your team?
Well, now we have a team of we are in one, two, three, four people. One that is a counsel, more serious, not serious, senior, not serious. They are
Mm.
all serious, more senior and more on the banking side, and then two lawyers and one trainee lawyer. Well, I try to give them. I believe a lot in the quality of the work. So I check all the documents, and even if do big transactions, I want that the quality is very high, in the sense that you have many transactions and with big issues, and I need the quality of every document. So I push a lot on that. Well, other than that, we try to I try that to give them more space, and the space that I had in the past. They have to keep the space, and so they draft the documents, they talk with the clients, and then this is. I try to organize the work in the sense that they are the juniors are work with always with someone that is more senior for protecting them and
Mm.
for helping them. And then I try, well, I don't know, I try to teach a little bit, if as much as I can, because I think that sometimes it's not an easy work. In the
Yeah.
past, before Lehman Brothers, all the lawyers believed to be millionaire and a
Yeah.
big career. After Lehman Brothers, something changed. But I want that my colleagues have an expectation to learn something, to
Mm.
improve their capabilities, and then if you grow in your career, also your salaries and everything, you can have high expectations then.
Yeah. Christian, I love this. You must be a great manager because it sounds that you're very fun to work with and you teach, but also you're very serious and focused on career growth and really doing the right work. So I love that, man. It sounds great. And what do you feel is the kind of task that quietly eats up the time, but nobody really questions?
To be precise, the precision in everything. So
Mm.
you now there is the AI is incredible. I have to say that the AI is incredible, and you cannot in any place, in any work, you cannot be without AI. But AI cannot be something. We still need the human intelligence.
Mm.
And the human intelligence, when you are precise, you review the documents. So for that, I'm a little bit annoying, because the fact that the document has some formalities, it is very easy to, in Italian, I don't know if you say that also in English, to lose your face. So if you do something wrong, then you are not reliable anymore. And then
Si
it's
dice spacca la cara, come si dice in Italy?
perdere la faccia.
Perdere la faccia, sì.
You work very hard for 20 years to be reliable, to have your to have some clients that trust you, but then everyone makes mistakes, and then
Yeah.
well, I try to review everything, of course, but I mean, I cannot do everything. So I want that my team is very precise, especially for the junior lawyers or trainee lawyers, because at the end of the day, they studied a lot at the university, but then they never practice.
Practice,
So
yeah.
yeah, and then what you have to do, you have to be precise, because if you read the document many times, then every time you find a mistake, or I say
Mm.
document, that could be a contract or a
Mm.
petition for well, when I have to file something to court, I mean, it is even worse, because I check that many times. So I tell my colleagues, I'm like, you I'm your client, so you have to
Yeah.
send me the document that is perfect. Then, and
Yeah.
that is something that now is with the AI and the fact that you have to be very quick in everything. You forget about that, and it's not in the highest position in the ranking. In the
Yeah.
past was, especially in the big law firms, that was mandatory. Was in
Yeah.
the position.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I get what you mean, and it's like the precision because I can give you the illusion that it's doing the work for you, but if you don't do these iteration, revise, 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 it's that precision. And I know also before going to court, you get this obsession with am I ready? Am I 99% ready? Am I 95? And it's like where's the silver bullet that I'm not seeing? So it's a very good dynamic. So when you think about a very busy week for you, when things feel very busy, what usually breaks first?
Well, when the week is very busy, you have to try to be calm
Mm,
because you have to see the goal. And I don't know, I try to give to all the clients the same quality and the same attention. Then if the week is too busy, I have to select something. So I have to check which are the clients that are you know I don't say more important, but I have to do some a selection, and so that is not easy because for me all the clients are all the same. But the clients that don't pay me, I'm probably they are in the second position. So the first thing the first thing is to be calm, and the first thing that breaks is there are some colleagues and also me in the past that when something is difficult, you are not focused anymore, and that is something that is you cannot lose the control, especially when the week is busy. So you have to try to be organized. Then
yeah.
it's not always possible, but that is the goal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear you. And like you're going to a case, there are many customers. It's how to manage all this at the best precision and quality, and you have to handle and structure this at the best way. It makes a ton of sense, and I'm sure many lawyers go through this. So you spoke about AI, Christian. So I'd love if you can share as much details as you can, like which tools, which everything. But at some point, did AI automation come as a possible fix to like these busy weeks, and managing and structuring things?
Well, now you cannot be a good lawyer without the AI. So you cannot be romantic saying I do everything without the AI. Then of course it depends from the kind of documents. For example, a petition or a document that has to be filed to court, you cannot use the AI because it's a risk.
Yeah.
They quote the wrong precedents. So in fact, there are we have an important AI provider, one of the biggest in the world, and the first thing that they asked us when we had this trial at the beginning, I said, "Do you need our tools for documents that has to be filed to court or for contracts?" And when because they said for litigation we are not ready yet. Then
Mm,
they will be ready. For documents. It is incredible because
mm,
there are some they can you can give some outputs and then they write very good clauses. So this is
yeah.
something. But then I always have the discussion with my partners. Everyone says there is the risk that in the future the trainees or the junior will be substituted by the
Yeah.
AI. For sure, something you will need less probably trainee lawyers or junior lawyers, but in any case, the work will change in the sense
Mm,
that you still need someone that is serious, a senior with the
mm,
capacity to review the documents because
mm,
you cannot trust 100% the AI.
yeah.
And at the end of the day, the juniors have to. They can start from for a document. I don't know for a loan for a financing. They can start from the AI like we started from our precedents, but then they have to be able to review. What I notice is that you are faster. At the end of the day, the first draft, you can draft a document, I don't know, in 3 hours after 1 minute with the AI, and then 3 hours for reviewing that. And then in the past, I don't know, you spent a couple of days, for example.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
that is very, very, very useful. But then everyone has to be very careful, because it's a tool but cannot substitute, at least until now, the lawyer.
Yeah,
Fortunately.
for sure. For sure. Maybe we'll get at some point where, because they're AI native firms where it's like an AI lawyer talks to another AI lawyer, but this is very far fetched. But I agree with you that it's still not there at all. But I don't know which tool you're using. Is it Harvey? You said one of the best, so they're the best in the or Harvey Legora. Maybe you can say, but yeah. So I'm curious, just what
No,
did
no,
you
I can say
try?
we
Yeah.
use Array. We
Ah,
use
okay.
Array.
Great, great, great. So, and I know there's been a lot going on with you know, Claude and ChatGPT moving into the space. I'm curious also, what did you try and what didn't really work the way you hoped, even with Harvey?
Well, ChatGPT is, I don't think that too many lawyers use anymore ChatGPT, in the
Yeah,
sense that you need to have your at least your cloud. And then yesterday, I don't want to do any publicity, but I had a dinner with other lawyers. We were invited by Harvey, because we are clients of Harvey, and so we
yeah,
discuss about these things. And there are big international law firms that do everything in cloud now.
yeah.
So it's incredible, because the problem the problem is related to the sources.
Mm,
So if I am 100%, if I use my sources, at least I know that is a document where I quoted the decision by the court, the clause is written in some ways. But if you have the open everything in cloud, it's you can make mistakes, and you are not sure about
mm,
the source. So it is very important to understand the sources, who does that. Then, of course, if you have your tool, is the best. I've been, I worked for 8 years in international law firms, 3 years as equity partner there, and then
mm,
you know that you can use, you invest a lot on that, in that. But you always have to be careful. But of course, from one year to the other, everything changes, and then
yeah,
in a couple of weeks, something changes. So in the future, we can. I'm not a big expert, but
yeah.
you have to become an expert about that.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, is did Harvey, like you said, they're talking about litigation, is did they cover most of the contract drafting for you, but for example stuff like the litigation side, or is something that you haven't seen that you'd like to see, maybe that wasn't there when you tried to, you know, in one of your busy weeks, Harvey wasn't the whole in platform that was going to make your week easier because it didn't have one or two three, like is there something specific you feel you were hoping to see but didn't?
Yeah, for the litigation, because when you have to the problem with the AI in the past was that that was with ChatGPT, for example. If you had a case and you ask a question to ChatGPT about the case, sometimes, and there are, it happened in the reality. I don't remember if also in Florence, I remember that the lawyer wrote in the petition, or in the application, I don't remember, some decision by the court that didn't exist. That is
Mm,
the problem is that what was written was reasonable, but it didn't
mm,
exist. So
yeah.
I think that, if in fact, when I always tell my colleagues to not use the AI for the researches,
Mm.
because the research, you have to use other kind of sources. If the AI is able to do that, and that they are going there, well, it would be very good, because you can use for structuring the document also as a research.
Yeah, 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 understood. And when you look back, what do you think was missing when you tried to do this with on the litigation or the structuring? Like, is there something that was missing that you wanted to see?
Well, I think that everyone has, when you write a document, a petition, it's like a book. You have your specific way to write. You have to persuade the judge. So this
Mm,
is something that either you are able to use another, like in the contracts, you use that format, and then the AI is able to take your style. Well, that
mm,
would be amazing, and probably in the future we will have that. This is something that at the moment in my profession doesn't exist. Then
mm,
there are people that use the AI as ghostwriter. That's okay. Every day there is someone that writes a book in the weekend. They say, well, we had many offers to the many ghostwriters call. And now it happens very often that they call
Yeah.
you and they say, "I can write you. You do like an interview in 5 minutes, and then they send you the pages written with the AI. Actually, they are very nice.
Yeah.
This is possible for for a book or something like that. For a document that you file to court, in my opinion, is not possible yet. So we are
Mhm.
going.
Yeah, yeah, of course, I hear you. But I got this a lot on the court because there's the emotion, there's the story, there's the Christian personality and like background. So there is more to it than just like here's the clauses and it's robotic. So it's very human, emotional. You have to account for the jury if there's a jury. So if we just say if that process of litigation or one of your processes that you feel is could be better with AI, but you sounds like more litigation. If that ran smoother for you, how much would it free up your team or and you?
Well, if you have something that can help you in your work, is always accepted, and then is always welcome. Also, my team understand that how I write, and as I said, a contract, the out of court proceedings are something different, because a contract you cannot be. I mean, the contract is still a contract, so you can write a clause a little bit in a nicer way, but at the end of the day, they are all the same. Instead, in a document that you have to file to court in a petition, or you have to use your, in Italian we say tocco magico, so you have a
See,
magic
the
touch.
magic touch, yeah, yeah.
Because it's like when you go to court and you have a discussion with the judge. If you use the right word, and the way that you use your voice, the tone. That is why even if I learned my LLM in the United States, I didn't stay there, because it is not so easy. I mean, we can have this discussion in English, but if you want to go to court and you have to be persuasive, it's not so easy. That is why there is, for example, in England, the difference between solicitors and barristers.
Mhm.
Solicitors don't go to court, barristers, they go to court. Is a different job. And
Mm.
in my opinion, this happens also with the documents that you have to file to court. So if there is the AI that is able to understand my style, I don't know, probably already exists, understand my
Yeah.
style and the way to write a sentence, well, that is would be great. You just push one button and then they write
Wow.
this. Is
Wow. And imagine Christian. So imagine it also like practices the court. So it's like acts as a judge and jury. It presents the judge and jury scenario. And then you chat to it with your tone and it gives you a sense even on the tonality you used and all that. So if you had that with the il tocco magico,
Yeah,
in simple terms, how do you feel your life or like your work would look like you and for you and your firm or you in
I can
simple terms?
retire. I can retire.
Romantic retirement. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
no, but
romantic
you
retirement.
so it would free up a lot of your time. Like you spend most of your focus and energy like doing that, right? Preparing really for that. Because this is like the time where you're in the Champions League, it's like the final. It's like this is the time opportunity for you to win, right? This is where
Yeah,
all the preparation.
you always have to distinguish between commodities and rocket science. That
Yeah.
is the main. For the commodities, you need the AI, and it is very important, the project, the process,
Yeah.
because it's a commodity. Everyone can do that. The machine can do that, and a junior lawyer can do that. Instead, the rocket science, that I mean, as a lawyer, if you do something that is rocket science, so it is important that they come to you and they engage you, they still need you. So I still think that in the future, for example, restructuring insolvency is still, I would say, rocket science, because at the end of
Mm,
the day, if you go to court, or also in out of court proceedings, you still need to have someone that has experience, in the sense that so many things, as many transactions. And that is something that, so the future will be, in my opinion, the big division between rocket science and commodities. For the
mhm.
rocket science, if I have something that can help me in that, well, I don't play golf, I can start playing golf.
Amazing. There are great golf places, I'm sure, in Abu Dhabi, hopefully very soon. So we're entering the last kind of section here. But Christian, like thinking about everything you've seen, Is there a specific workflow, meeting, or tasks where leaders should just cut the bullshit, just cut the BS, just because it looks productive, but actually isn't? And we can coach you on that, and feel free to curse or just like let it all out.
Well, I think that after the pandemic, the way that you work is completely different. For example, the video calls. So in the past, for example, if you had in Italy a meeting from in Rome from Milano, you had to take your flight in the morning, go to to Rome for a meeting of 1 hour, and then you went back. And
Yeah.
many times these kind of meetings were not so important. So for these
Yeah.
kind of meetings, now you can have the video call and something like that. Sometimes I was talking about that with my colleagues this morning. Sometimes you should have a real meeting. For example, now in Abu Dhabi is really, you need to have relationships. You have to create trust. It's not an
Mhm.
easy market. They have to see you. You have to drink a coffee. You have to talk. You have to use, even if I'm using more my Thai there than here, than in
Mhm.
Italy, because you have to, they have to keep the relationship, and many relationships are real. So there are events, you have to shake the hands, and this is something that, so on one end we are saving a lot of time with the video calls in general, but sometimes then we should go back to, sometimes to physical meetings, for, at least for the important meetings. For example, I work a lot with the banks. Probably the last time that I had a meeting with someone from a bank was 5 years ago. I'm not kidding. You
Wow.
coffee, but you don't have the official meetings anymore face to face, and that is this is something that we saved some time. That then probably we should go back to that. Then of course you can work from home, you can do whatever you think, but especially for the junior lawyers, is important to see you, to share the screen, to understand what you are doing. So this is
Mhm.
something that we save a lot of time, but sometimes we miss something else.
Yeah, I totally understand. And especially in the Middle East, like these things are super important. So if you could give one piece of advice to leaders dealing with the same like issues or challenges you've been through in your career, what would that be?
Am I paid for this tip?
Hopefully, yes. Hopefully someone sees this and resonates.
No, you need, in my opinion, everyone has you need to have expectations. If you
Yeah.
don't have any expectations, you don't achieve any goal. So you have to put your expectation very high, and and then you will get, you obtain your result. In the Middle East, Abu Dhabi is very, it's difficult. It's not easy to have
Mhm.
business there, because it's, as I said, we are an Italian law firm. There are huge American law firms. But then I'm pretty confident that if you keep your expectation very high, you can obtain the results. And also in Italy, when I hear the many colleagues that, especially a little bit junior, they are not enthusiastic. The professor is dead. We are
Yeah.
not going to achieve any result. Well, of course, if you're negative, you don't want to, you
Mhm.
don't have any expectation, you will not achieve any result. So you have to keep your expectation very high. Then, there is, you have to be lucky so you have to be in the right place in the right moment.
Yeah.
But then, if you don't have any goal, you don't obtain anything.
Yeah.
This is something that I'm telling to my kids, at least, and but to the kids is easier because they have many expectations. They want to be the soccer player. They want to do that. So it's, we have to be. You need to have some dreams, little dreams. Dreams come true sometimes, but they do.
I love it, Christian. That's so refreshing and so inspiring. Thank you so much. And I just want to say this, like I think as an Italian firm and you as an Italian, your character, because you have that fun side, and also Italians are close to Middle East more than Americans. So I think you already have the advantage, and you have an amazing spirit. And like you said, faith like a child is great. So thank you for inspiring us. This was such an incredible conversation. We learned a lot. Thank you for being on our podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope we maybe could have other chats later on in your career. We'll be following your journey for sure. Any lasting thoughts?
No, thank you so much. It was a pleasure for me. It's, I always have fun in this situation because it helps you to think about many things. whenever you want, I'm here. So we can have we can, if you're in Italy or in Abu Dhabi, we can drink a coffee or a beer in Italy and a coffee there.
Amazing, Christian. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Definitely.
you.
Take
Bye.
London. Ciao, ciao. So,
Ciao, ciao,
Christian,
ciao.
that's really good. Thank you so much. How do you feel, by the way? It was so good for me. Like, I really enjoyed it. How are you? How do you feel?
It's great. I have fun in this. It's a nice chat. So it's
Yeah.
well, yeah. If then you tell me, give me the details, I will check how I am. So
Yeah, I know what you mean. No, but for me, I really enjoy. I think one of the funnest conversation I had. You're a great spirit, man. So great. I'll just tell you a few details. I will. My team will edit a bit the video. They will send it to you via email. They'll give you like a week if you want to change anything, and also we'll post it once you're okay with it. We're just going to post it around. I just had this small thought also as you were speaking, because you're sharing about the litigation and other processes. I know you work already with Harvey, but we have something different. I run this other business that maps and improves workflows via AI agents. So what we do is we show you a map of how much profits you can make more in the firm, even in business development. And if we don't show you like you can make 30,000 euro or dollar more per month, then we don't really move forward. But if there's an opportunity, we then tailor an AI agent, we customize it to your workflow. It can be on the litigation side, it can be on the one of the workflows you described, and then it just works for you as an agent. So is this something that would not be interesting for you if I share this with you, if we have another chat around that, or it's not something you're currently looking into?
no, you can share with me. Then I have to, of course, to check also with my partners. So, for example, last year when we started with Harvey, we did the trial, but then we took the decision. Then we have a very good fintech team. So usually for something related to the fintech, I involve my partner. So because even if I'm trying to improve my knowledge on that, so it's if you want, we can want to schedule something, or you have a trial, we can do that, and then if it is interesting, I can.
Yeah, that would be great, Christian. Thank you, and feel free. So with a week from, so I'm gonna send you all the reports. So I'm gonna do two things: send you the podcast separately and this one. But with a week from today, like same time, be busy for you, or maybe in a few days. I know it's like Eid now, maybe so people there's a bit more space. But yeah, what do you think?
Well, let's try to reschedule. I don't know, in a couple of weeks, so we can. In the meantime, if you can send me something that I can review, so we can have.
Yeah.
The chat together, consider that is related to a tool or something like that. If I can review that before the conversation, so I have a clue. So if we can schedule in a couple of weeks, it would be great.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'll send you everything before. So shall we do like maybe second week of June, like tentative 11th, for example, same time?
Let me check.
Are you busy then?
All right.
Ok, perfetto. All right, I will send you everything. Ti invio tutto. È un piacere, always. And by the way, if you ever come to Egypt, like I stay here most of the time between here and Berkeley and California. So happy to host you here. And yeah, in bocca lupo a tutto. You're doing great, man. So hope
Thank you
to
so
keep
much.
the relationship.
Thank you so much. Crepi il lupo.